Now, the suicide bomber in Monday's attack in Manchester has been identified as Salman Abedi. At this point, the Islamic State's claim that he was one of their soldiers is being investigated, and that comes as British authorities intensify their search for possible accomplices. Police teams have launched search operations across Manchester after the worst terrorist strike in Britain in more than a decade. Let's get to the very latest now. CGTN's Natalie Powell joins us live from Manchester. Natalie, just give us an update on what's coming out of the initial investigations, and in particular what more we may know about Salman Abedi.
Well, of course, Greater Manchester Police will now be investigating this man that they have named as a 22-year-old British-born man from Libyan descent. And they will be investigating not only him and his links to potential extremist groups, but also his associates and his network. That will be their single most priority as their investigation goes forward. Now, of course, we've seen throughout the day here in Manchester a number of raids taking place, one in an apartment block that has been described as being frequented by international students. We've also seen 2 controlled explosions take place in the city, all to do with this police investigation. Of course, police say that this was a rather sophisticated attack, all to do with the timing of the attack, and of course a great number of casualties. 22 people we know have died so far in this attack, many of those children. 59 people injured with their injuries from shrapnel. They are spread around several hospitals, of course, here in Manchester, and the UK Prime Minister Theresa May has been visiting them when she's come up from London to visit those victims of this attack. But Greater Manchester Police, of course, focusing in now their investigation following a number of raids taking place in the city.
And indeed, we also, of course, heard Prime Minister Theresa May earlier today talking about just how callous this attack, really just how difficult it is for many people to come to terms with it, because it was young children that were the targets. How is this attack, though, likely to impact on security arrangements in Manchester and perhaps elsewhere in England?
Well, there is a huge police presence here in the city of Manchester, and we understand that in other cities across the UK, police presence has been increased there too. But a number of roads around the arena where the attack took place have been cordoned off. We've seen a lot of police patrolling the streets here, trying to ensure the safety of the citizens. It has rocked people and shocked people here in Manchester, of course, and they feel very much safer, shall we say, now that the police presence is here on the streets. But of course there are concerns that this may not have been an attack on its own, that there could be potentially other attacks to come, and that is all part of that police investigation. As you said, Theresa May hosted that COBRA meeting early on here in the UK. She said afterwards that she wasn't going to increase the terror threat level. The terror threat level here in the UK remains at severe, which is the second highest. It means that an attack is highly likely but not imminent. So that terror threat level hasn't been raised yet, but nevertheless there is certainly a much greater police presence on the streets, not just here in Manchester but across the UK.
Right, we'll have to leave it there, but thanks very much for that update. Natalie Powell there live for us in Manchester. Let's now go live to London, where we're getting some live pictures coming from Trafalgar Square, where a vigil is ongoing for the victims of the Manchester attack. The event has been graced by religious leaders and other officials.
In their generations, this town hall, which symbolises so much of our civic life, what is once again tonight the symbol of unity for Manchester. As people of whatever faith, please pray for us, hold us in your thoughts, your hearts this night, for that in itself too will strengthen us. And remember this warm, sunny evening in Manchester, in which we have also welcomed the world into our hearts to see us grieve and to know that our grief will not destroy us, but will remake us. Thank you for being Manchester.
I can't begin to tell you what your presence here this evening and your support will mean for my Greater Manchester Police colleagues and my emergency service colleagues who continue to work tirelessly on this terrorist atrocity. They will be heartened by your support and your applause, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Well, as you heard there, a vote of thanks from the police authorities as well as religious leaders calling for unity and support in the aftermath of that attack. Of course, we will continue to bring you more updates on the Manchester attack as they come in.